Hello and welcome back to Frugal Footprint. I'm Brian, and in this video series we are building an original design for an outdoor storage bin to store our patio furniture. You may have heard it called a deck box or something like that. Essentially the same idea. In the first video we built our base and our floor for the bottom. In this next one we're going to be building the walls. So I'm going to be using the miter saw, and in this step you will need 3 untreated 8-foot 2x4s. We're going to be cutting them down into 2 5-foot long pieces and 3 31-inch long pieces. Easy as that. All right, so we have the frame for the back of the bin laid out here. So you can see I have the 2 longer boards and then these 31-inch boards. This one's down the middle. You might ask, why am I doing it this way as opposed to this way? Well, I want to maximize the storage capacity inside by making these as thin as possible, but I also want to maintain rigidity and strength. You know, I could probably do this with a 2x2 instead of a 2x4, but I think this is really going to help make it extra sturdy. Now, to hold this together, I'm going to be using the same 3-inch galvanized screws. They're exterior screws, so they won't rust out on me. And I'll just be toenailing them down in, and I'm only going to use 6 of them. And again, this is just like the base. It's just to hold it together, because once we get the plywood siding on here and we put screws down into it, that's really what's going to hold this whole thing together. All right, so here we have the back frame for the storage bin. This will end up with plywood on it as well once we get to that step. But next up, we'll be cutting out the boards that will be the frame for the sides of the bin. And the dimensions are a little bit different, but it's more or less the same idea. You want to head over to frugalfootprint.com to get the designs, so that way you can follow along and get the exact measurements and make one of these for yourself. All right, back to the miter saw. You're gonna need 3 8-foot 2x4s for this step to build the frame for the sides of the bin. We also have the offcut, the extra piece from the back, so if you make some mistakes, there's a little bit of wiggle room there. All right, so here's the side, there's the other one. I assembled these exactly like I did the back. Just a 3-inch screw kind of toenailed up through the edge. Again, this is not to hold this together when we get the plywood on here and we have screws going into it. That's what's gonna really make it rigid. Now this piece in the middle here isn't actually for structure at all. Part of the design is that on the outside, I wanna have handles. So that way, you know, it's gonna be pretty heavy. I think all in, it might be 100 pounds plus, give or take. And I wanted to put some carrying handles on it, but if we put those in screwed just into plywood, I bet they'd rip right out. So I added this board in the middle, so that way we can have screws going in deeper right into the structure and into the frame of the bin. And then you can get, you know, a person on either side, lift it up, carry it to a different spot. And that's the reason for this board here. But yeah, again, go ahead to frugalfootprint.com, grab your copy of the designs so you can follow along exactly. Next up, we're gonna attach both the back and these 2 sides to the floor, and then we'll be cutting out siding in the next video. All right, so here we have the bin. It's on its back side. This is the floor and then the frame for the back and the sides. And I'm gonna be using these 4-inch screws to go up through the bottom and into the sides to really help hold it together. Now I could use 3-inch screws, but between this 2x4 and the plywood flooring, that's already 2 inches. We'd only have 1 inch of screw going up into the sides. It'd probably be fine, but this way I can know for sure that it's really gonna hold those sides down, especially, you know, if you were to pick it up from the sides with those handles I was talking about. I don't want the floor to fall off, you know, without having the screw going up into the sides. That's the logic. Let's do it. All right, So the bottom is affixed to the back and the sides. Next up, I'm just gonna be putting some screws in through the back into the sides to lock these together. And for this step, I'm just gonna go right back to these 3-inch screws because that will be just fine. All right, that's it for this video. In the next one, I will be cutting out the plywood siding for the back and the sides. And then the video after that, I'll be working on the doors and the lid. And then we'll be on to painting, hardware, finishing it up. We're about halfway there. Stay tuned for the next video, but in the meantime, hit the like button. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe for sure, and I'll see you in the next video.